I want to play one of the things about my show that I like when I listen back to it, and it's interesting to listen to your own work because you critique your own work. And Jeremy, you're an artist, so you can actually appreciate this more than I can because I'm just podcasting to raise some money for kids and trying to have some fun. You do this for a living, so you have to critique your work all the time with your choir and not just your university choir that you direct, but the Jeremy Winston chorale that you direct as well. One of the things that I do like when I listen to my show, I don't pander to the audience. We don't go to the least common denominator. I'm not going to sit here and call out professional radio show hosts that are better than me and went to broadcasting school at Syracuse and more talented. But you see there are a lot of gimmicks on sports talk radio. People have shtick. They don't really talk like that in real life.
Right.
I'll use Colin Cowherd, who you talk about all the time on the show. He knows that he can bait Allen, and Allen's not on the phone, but he knows that he can bait Cleveland because Cleveland has kind of an inferiority complex. So he knows that he can bait the city of Cleveland by talking about LeBron James or talking about the Browns. He'll also bait people that are very sensitive about race, and he has a way of doing it to where he doesn't say something that's directly racist, but he'll tiptoe around that line. So a lot of radio shows, they do this thing called Contender and Pretender. It's real cheesy. They play this cheesy NFL music in the background. And we're not going to do that on my show because I just think that that's right. But I am going to name 5 teams. And I'm curious, I just want a brief, short answer. Do you think that these teams have a legitimate chance to win a Super Bowl?
Okay.
So the first name I'm going to come up with, we know that the Patriots and the Packers are Super Bowl contenders, so we're not going to talk about this because we already know those are great teams. They're both 5-0. They're both dominant. But the Atlanta Falcons.
Ah, man. Contender or pretender? Man, that's a good question, the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to have to say contender.
Dan Quinn has been playing ball, man. They have that. Ryan is a really good quarterback, so you and I agree. Their new coach has brought that culture of physicality and just the culture of having killer instinct. They're beating teams by 3 and 4 touchdowns. They're just destroying people.
But let's remember, just today they barely got by Washington. Now, the reason why I kind of pause a little bit is just because of track record. I mean, talent is one thing, and I guess for this whole thing, there's always an asterisk next to whatever answer I say because any team is liable to fall or crumble for whatever reason. But they've fallen and crumbled too frequently, in my opinion, in recent years when they had an opportunity to really close the deal and really make it to the Super Bowl. I can't remember which game, but they had a couple opportunities that they just couldn't do it. But they're a good team. The East isn't necessarily strong. They could really make a statement to come out of the East. So, yeah, contender.
All right. Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, I knew that. Pretender. Listen, they're playing some serious ball today, and they really
they're 5-0, man. They just beat the Seahawks.
They just beat the Seahawks in overtime. But let me tell you what. I was listening to some commentary today. People talk about, the Cincinnati Bengals, they got it together. People forget that for the past 3 years, Cincinnati Bengals started strong. Maybe not 5-0, but they definitely started 3-0 and maybe up to 3-0, 3-2, and so forth. And people were talking about Cincinnati Bengals as possible Super Bowl contenders. For the past 3 years, they choked in the playoffs. They
haven't won a playoff game in 20 years.
And it's the same squad. It'd be different.
Since Boomer Esiason. This is the last time they won a playoff game.
Since Ickey Woods, right?
Right, the Ickey Shuffle.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, the point is this: it's not that. I mean, it would be different if there was different personnel or something in there that would make me think that. Mm-hmm. Right. They still got Marvin Lewis. They still got Andy Dalton. They've got talent, but talent is not where you win in the NFL. I mean, everybody has talent. That's a part of it, but you've got to be able to have the full package to win in the playoffs. So I think they're pretenders.
Yeah, I agree. I think with Andy Dalton, I give them absolutely no chance to compete for a Super Bowl with Andy Dalton. I mean, they have one of the best rosters, talent-wise, top to bottom in football. But but with Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis, they have absolutely no chance. Next team up, Denver Broncos.
Oh, man, I hate to say it, man, but I think they're pretenders, and their defense is crucial. I think they always have an advantage with the mile-high air when they play at home. But Peyton Manning is struggling, man, and I just don't feel like you can really win in the big in the playoffs and long-term with only scoring, 6 points offensively. And I think it was something like that, either 6 or 10 points offensively today. It's just really that to me is a concern, and I can't see them really making a statement with Peyton Manning playing so poorly.
So you and I disagree on this one. I think that their defense is actually what Peyton Manning needed his whole career. They seem to have the best defensive personnel on any team that Peyton Manning's ever played with. Okay. And I think reducing him to a game manager at his age of 39, where he just does not have the arm strength, he does not have the pocket presence that he once did. I think you put him with a great defense, and we'll see the test of time, right? Denver plays in the AFC West. The Chiefs aren't really that good. The Raiders are still getting together. We'll see over the course of the year. We'll see when they play the Patriots how good that defense really is. But if that defense is the real deal, I actually think that defense can carry Peyton Manning possibly to a championship as opposed to the other way around. The one championship he won with the Indianapolis Colts was the year when their defense came together when Bob Sanders was healthy. They had Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis in their prime. Right. And Peyton Manning didn't light it up during the playoffs during that championship run that he had. He was throwing for 175, 210 yards a game. It was really that defense that was locked down, and they stepped up.
Yeah, but remember, he played the Chicago Bears in the playoffs that year, and I think the Chicago Bears was a pretty weak team. They were, and the NFC was pretty defunct then too. So I think that was theirs for the taking. Honestly, I think that was for any AFC team to take that year. But anyway, I got you.
There's a fourth team, the Arizona Cardinals.
Nah, they're contenders. They're contenders. I've been good. That's a good squad. I mean, I've been big on.
Joke.
Yeah, I've been big on Carson Palmer for a while. As a matter of fact, I think that was one of the biggest losses Cincinnati. If Cincinnati had Carson Palmer, I'd probably call them contenders right now. But no, yeah, I'm big on the Arizona Cardinals. I think that they're going to surprise a lot of people.
And last but certainly not least, as we kind of wrap up the segment, I'm going to call out my team from the city that I live in, the Night Riders of the 206, the Seattle Seahawks. Hashtag 98101, my block, my Ave, my neighborhood. Are the Seattle Seahawks a legitimate Super Bowl contender?
I say yes on Seattle. I say yes. I'm not selling my stock on Seattle just yet. Mostly because, this is too early in the season for me to write them off. Yeah, they've had a rocky start. Yeah, they've lost some personnel over this year, so they're not as strong defensively, especially in the secondary, as they were last year. But but their game plan to me is still very sound. I think they've got a good arm. The quarterback, his name, I don't know why his name is leaving me right now. And even though they lost today to Cincinnati Bengals, I think that, I could see them getting hot later. I could see them putting the pieces together and getting hot later. So I'm not convinced that they're going. I'm still going to call them contenders, but that's some reticence there.
So we play this back at the end of the year as the year goes on. Let it be known that I, James Lewis, host of the Last Day Radio Show on Advent Sports Network, has gone on record. The Seattle Seahawks are done. They're finished. It's over. I watch this team. I follow this team. I live in Seattle. Earl Thomas got paid. Richard Sherman got paid. Russell Wilson got paid. They're not as hungry as they used to be. They're a 2-3 team. They are a blown call last Monday night with Detroit, with Megatron having the ball at the goal line. Cam Chancellor made a great play, slapped the ball out of his hand. They called a touchback, even though the ball was batted out the end zone when it was found out that was the incorrect ball, the incorrect call. the Lions should have had the ball on the 1-yard line, which it's seemingly that they would have had a very good opportunity to score. The Lions are an 0-5 team.
Yeah.
They went into Seattle and basically played them straight up and needed a fluke call to lose the game. The mystique of CenturyLink Field, the mystique of the Seahawks has worn off. And a lot of it starts with Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch is at the end of the road. He's just not physically what he used to be. And we've seen with running backs, teams that are reliant on running backs. We saw it with LaDainian Tomlinson. We've seen it with greats of even further back, Marshall Faulk, all the way to Eric Dickerson, great running backs. They get to that 31, 32 age, and it's a sharp drop-off. It's not a progressive decline. You just wake up and you don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
You were a Pro Bowler last year, but you wake up and you just physically can't do what you used to be able to do. And right now, Seattle's in a bad way. They are not a very good team right now, and they're teetering on the verge of an implosion. I'm hoping that, as a person who lives there, I'm hoping that their defense is able to kind of carry them to an extent. But I disagree. I think that the dynasty's over, and I do not think that Russell Wilson is elite to the level where he can carry a team. I think that beast mode and that ability to pound the rock with their great defense help Russell Wilson look good.
Right. Well, we will see. I think that we will see. I think that that team has been built on grit and grimy and being able to battle through. They lost a tough game today, and they won a fluke game on the Monday. But I think that they're going to find a way to pull together. We'll see.
So before we leave, Jay, you got any Clyde Simmons references, man? You want to shout out
any what?
Any Clyde Simmons, Fred Barnett, Reggie White?
Oh, well, listen, those are you're talking just legends. You're talking legends. Vicehimma. The prize fighter. You're doing it for me, man. Listen, these are the pillars of the NFL from the 90s, and it's only right that if we're going to talk NFL, we talk about one of the greatest defenses that ever played the game. And so, it's always happy. I do want to take a second just to send out my condolences to the cities that are just looking very bad. It's hard. It's hard to be a Detroit fan today, and I'm hoping you all get it together. I think the Cleveland Browns, did they pull it up today over the off of the Ravens?
They came through with a victory. They're 2-3, which for Cleveland 2-3, that's they almost throw a parade for that.
Yeah, and Ravens are 1-4, but I'm always trying to find a way to jump on Cleveland. I also want to just say I'm pulling for Vic still. That he steps up for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's had a lot of haters, and hope that he can lead that team to some victories and shut them up.
He's 3-14 in his last 17 starts. It's over for him.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm pulling for him nevertheless, just because he doesn't deserve all of the criticism he spewed at him. I hope he can at least sustain the team until Roethlisberger gets back.
Well, for those of y'all listening to Avid Sports Network, you'll be able to hear me and Jeremy Winston, also Alan Bozeman. We can talk as the season goes by, and we may even flash pictures of our team's Super Bowl rings, unless you're Jeremy and Alan, because they don't have any Super Bowl rings. But I'll be flashing pictures of Colts rings, and Jeremy and Alan will be taking shots.
I can flash a picture of a ring any day. It doesn't have to belong to the Eagles, but I'll flash a ring. And I also have to shout out the fact that the Cowboys lost. That's always a win for me. Eagles win, Cowboys lose is a great day.
The Lance J Radio Show is taped at Advent Sports Network Studios, located in beautiful Emerald City of Seattle,